And welcome to the Box Score. Terry Collins along with Murphy Fair. And Murph, we're winding toward the playoffs. If I count it right, there's only 4 weeks of the regular season remaining.
Yeah, and there's still several teams out there that haven't had their open dates, so that means a lot of schools only have 3 more games to play before the postseason begins. It has just raced by like it always does.
Of course, warm weather's still a part of us. It is cooling off at night, which is good, but 85 to 90 degrees just about every day. I'm sure as the forecasters say it's going to be cooler this weekend, that there's some probably big linemen that are saying amen. But
it's time. It is time for sure.
Let's go ahead and look at the game of the week, which was Giles County at Watertown. We want to thank Huff and Puff Trucking for sponsoring that, and also our title sponsor, which is Carthage Safeway of the Box Score. You look at quite an offensive explosion. When's the last time you saw a team put up 481 yards on a Watertown defense? But Giles County wins at 50-34, Murphy. And when you look at those stats, averaging over 10 yards per carry, 31 rushes, 321 yards, 160 through the air, 481 yards total. Of course, the one thing the Bobcats did not like, I'm sure, was the 3 fumbles they lost. But still, a very, very talented team that has put itself in position now that they're going to win the region.
I talked to Coach O'Connor about 2 weeks ago for my statewide radio show, and he really likes this football team that he's got this year. He's got a couple of kids, the seniors, running backs, that's quite the 1-2 punch that he throws at the opposition. They are both on the Gannett top 100 seniors in the entire state list. And we don't hear much about Giles County because it's down there on the Alabama state line, but they've got a pretty good football team, and it wouldn't surprise me at all if they wind up playing Alcoa at some point in the playoffs, maybe in the Blue Cross Bowl.
Well, that'd have to be in the semifinals because, see, they're in Region 4 and Alcoa's in Region 2.
That's
so
right.
They would have to meet in the semis.
See, they're 30 or 40 miles west of I-65, and those things used to never happen. I-65 was kind of the dividing point between Regions 4 and 5, but It's not that way anymore.
But when you look at the stats for them, that was, a great night for Watertown, 384 yards. I'm sure Coach Gavin Webster would take that every night.
Especially against a team like Giles County.
Let's go ahead and look at the individual numbers for the Bobcats. Randolph, 13 carries, 104 yards, a couple of touchdowns, 2 receptions for 20 yards, kickoff return for touchdown. And Kamari Turner, 11 rushes, 205 yards, 2 receptions for 34 yards, and 6 total touchdowns. You talk about 2 athletes that have big playability, these 2 Giles County players do.
As Trousdale County was with Harpers for decade after decade after decade, so have the Randolphs been kind of the same thing for Giles County. They've had a stud in the offensive or defensive backfield for years. Just a big family with a lot of athletic ability.
Look at Watertown and new quarterback Blake Waldorf stepping in, 16 of 30, 167 yards, a couple of scores. Then Adam Cooper, 15 rushes, 154 yards and 2 touchdowns. Probably the most explosive that we've seen Watertown be all year.
That's pretty good numbers for a young quarterback who really hadn't been thrown into the fire very much this season. But that's some impressive numbers, and I know the coaching staff as a whole has got to be pretty pleased with that performance.
Let's go ahead and look at Upland and Smith County. The Bees, the number 2 team in 4A, beat the Owls 14-0, hold them to 54 total yards for the game. Just an outstanding effort by them. Of course, the Owls were without 4 starters in the game. A couple of them played both ways. Kylan Johnson, 15 rushes for 34 yards. He also had an interception. Riley Martin, 5 for 13 for 33 pass yards. But the front 7 for the Bees dominated, especially Mr. Harris, number 9 for Upland. They just really. They scored the first possession, scored another time in the second quarter. The Owls really battled Murphy, but Upland just had the better team.
Probably the most physical team they will have faced this entire season. That's one thing Coach Kane stresses and works very hard to make sure that his kids are ready for a fight, and they're going to give it their whole. And it sounds like that's exactly what happened the other night.
Looking for the Bees, Ethan Polk, 24 rushes, 123 yards, a touchdown. I think he's just a junior. And then Bronson Chaffin, the sophomore quarterback, 11 of 21, 123 passing yards, a touchdown. He did have a couple of interceptions. He also carried it 13 times for 73 yards. And then Cam Bush had a touchdown receiving that came on the first drive of the game. He had 4 receptions for 52 yards. But Upman improves to 7-0 and continues to roll. And, of course, they've got a couple of big games left to win the region championship, but they're the odds-on favorite to win Region 4-4A.
And not only that, but to go deep into the playoffs, probably at least 3, if not 4, and possibly even 5 rounds.
Right. Let's look at Cannon County and Gordonsville. That was let's look at Gordonsville and Forest first. Gordonsville gets the big win, 31-7. Jay Foster, a big night, 17 of 23, 249 yards, 3 touchdowns. Hancock, 148 yards receiving and 2 touchdowns. And then Canaan Musgrove, 59 yards rushing, 30 yards receiving. I wasn't surprised that Gordonsville won. I was surprised at the margin.
That's got to be one of the best nights that Gordonsville's had this season as far as stats are concerned. Forest is not a bad football team, and for Gordonsville to put 31 points on the board is only outdistanced by how well the defense played, only allowing the Rockets 7 points in the ball game. That's I know Coach Jackson had to be awfully excited and awfully pleased with the way his kids played.
Of course, Forest out of Region 4-2A could be opponent for Smith County a little bit further down the road. They were led by Cohen Grissom, 8 rushes, 69 yards and a touchdown, and Eli Bell, 6 carries for 66 yards. Looking at some more stats from our games, and that Cornersville County game, the Bulbs were shot in the scoreboard. Cornersville wins at 45-42. Murph, the former president, no, not. Benjamin Franklin, 24 rushes, 365 yards, 7 touchdowns. He accounts for 87% of his team's offensive yards. What a night by Mr. Franklin.
Mr. Franklin, indeed.
Right.
That guy's about, 6'3", 250. And if he gets his third step, there's not many people one-on-one that are going to be able to bring him to the ground. He's just a muscular guy who looks like he's about 30 years old and plays like it too.
Right. Looking for Cannon County, a good offensive night for them. You put up 42 points. Braden Smithson, 19 carries for 122 yards, a touchdown. Tucker Kine, another huge night for the Lions, 7 receptions, 176 yards and a touchdown. And then Kobe Miller, 13 of 24, 258 yards through the air, 3 touchdowns, an interception. So Cannon County, offensively, Murphy, may have had their most productive point and yard total.
I think so. And with Tucker Kine being up there again, his name has been on the screen almost every week. He's got offers from, I think, 3 different OVC schools. And a couple of weeks ago, he was invited to come to a Vanderbilt game when the Commodores played Kentucky, and was offered to be a preferred walk-on at Vanderbilt.
Let's look at Macon and DeKalb. Macon goes on the road, wins at 32-20. Gabe Borders, they're Mr. Everything, a kickoff return for a touchdown, 51-yard touchdown reception. Luke Gammons had a running touchdown and a passing touchdown. DeKalb led by Briz Trapp with a passing touchdown. Marquez Chalfont, a touchdown reception, and Malachi Trapp, a 67-yard touchdown run. DeKalb backed into the corner, Murphy. They need some wins if they're going to make that 4th playoff spot.
In that particular region, it is just so close. Macon County is at 3-1 right now, and they still have to play Livingston and Stone Memorial. If they lose either one of those ball games, they not only lose the opportunity to win the region, but they may lose an opportunity to be playing at home in the first round. That top 4 teams over there are just so tight.
You look at Upman, and there's a good chance that they've already got a win over Macon and Lafayette. So, they're the odds-on favorite to go the distance. We'll take a look at some Week 7 recap and a Week 8 preview. We'll look at our Sonic scores when we return. As we remind you, you're watching The Box Score, brought to you by Carthage Safeway.
Your trusted friend for all your grocery needs in Smith County is Carthage Safeway, your home-owned and home-operated supermarket. From the delicious USDA steaks in their meat department to the freshest produce around, Carthage Safeway is proud to serve you and your family. Todd and Angela Skurlock and everyone at Carthage Safeway are always there with a friendly smile and a helping hand. Great service, prices, and selection. That's Carthage Safeway, 80 Dixon Springs Highway, Carthage.
Neighbors help each other. It's how community works. And it's how we do business at DTC. You can count on us for internet, TV, and phone, backed by local support.
For a limited time, get 1 month free when you add or upgrade your internet package. Enjoy internet speed that can keep up with all you do.
DTC. We're working hard to be a good neighbor.
Hello, I'm Bruce Daniel. I've lived in Cannon County all my life. For the last 59 years, I've only made it across the highway. I married my wife, Melody, in 1981. We hauled our first load of freight in 1983 with one truck and a couple old barred trailers. We found a way to make it. Our employees are the backbone of our company. Some of our team members have been with us for more than 30 years.
Nearstar Middle Tennessee Mines in Gordonsville is hiring. We have open positions for Chief Geologist, General Mine Foreman, Mine Engineer, Graduate Mining Engineer, Electrical Superintendent, Mobile Superintendent, Mine Supervisor, and more. We offer competitive wages, excellent benefits, PTO, holiday pay, exceptional 401k, and lots more. Make the most of your future and your career. Join the excellent team at Nearstar Middle Tennessee Mines in Gordonsville.
And welcome back to the Box Score. Terry Collins along with Murphy Fair. Justin Malden always doing a great job for us, and I'm sure Justin, there was no loser for him in the Upman-Smith County game.
No.
He's an Upman alumnus. He pulls the out, so he had both the aces covered regardless of how last Friday night's game came out.
Yeah, he had no choice.
Let's go ahead and look at the Sonic scores from Region 4 1A. Clay County gets the region win over Joe Burns. Sets up that final game with Gordonsville. Of course, Gordonsville's got to beat Red Boiling this week. We'll lock that up to be for the region championship, and then Gordonsville gets the big win at home in homecoming over the Forest Rockets, 31-7.
But that contest with Red Boiling, it's not the automatic that it has been so many years in the past. Red Boiling's got a pretty doggone good football team. Aiden
Link leading them, and he's the head coach's son. Let's go ahead and look at the Sonic of Carthage Region 3 2A scores. A big one, Murph. East Robertson comes from behind at the end and gets the extra point. They were down 12-6 to Westmoreland, but they sneak out a 13-12 win.
No way anybody picked Westmoreland to win that ball game. I just wonder how much Smith County's win over East Robertson let the air out of the balloon as far as East Robertson was concerned, because as good as they have been this year, Westmoreland has not, and I just didn't see that being a 1-point game.
When you look at Monterey and Cascade, there's a chance that could be a rematch in the first round of the playoffs with if Monterey got the 3rd seed out of 3-2A, Cascade the number 2 seed out of 4-2A. Of course, Cascade will be hosting that game, but Monterey gets a narrow victory. Jackson over Pickett big, and then Upland over Smith County.
Really glad to see that Jackson County win. Sean's done such a good job over there. Jackson County is always and probably will always be a football community, but he's worked really hard at trying to make that football program as good as it can be in a very strong basketball community.
Definitely is. Let's go ahead and look at the Region 4 TOA. Sonic of Carthage scores. Marion County a big win over Tyner. They continue to roll. They're unbeaten. Fayetteville gets the win over Sequatchie County. Somewhat of an upset there, Murph.
Yeah, I think so. Fayetteville had not won until they went to Woodbury a couple of weeks ago. Maybe that gave them the confidence they needed to get over Sequatchie. Sequatchie's been a hard one to pick this year. They've won the games they shouldn't, and they've lost the games that they should have won.
Right. Cornersville beats Cannon, Monterey over Cascade, and Cornersville over Forest. Let's go ahead and look at the Region 4 3A scores. Grundy County, a big win over Community, 37-18. Of course, we saw earlier the stats on the Giles County Watertown and Fayetteville over Sequatchie. Murphy Grundy has continued improved play from what we've seen in years past.
Yeah, very much so. They want to be a good football community, and I think in years past they have been, but they've certainly fallen off the radar screen, and the struggle to get back on top, or at least be noticed, is a tough road to take.
Of course, you got Colemont, Altamont, and Tracy City there that feed kids to Grundy County High School. Let's go ahead and look at the Region 4 4A scores. Sonic and Carthage bringing us those. White County, a big win over Cumberland County. White County still battling for the playoffs. Stone Memorial and Livingston, both Stone and Upperland are battling for what could be the region championship. Macon over DeKalb really hurts DeKalb's chances of getting in the playoffs, and then Upperland over Smith County. But Murphy, when you look at those 7 teams that comprise Region 4 4A, a very, very tough region.
The 4 teams listed on the left of that screen, I'm guessing, are going to be the 4 teams in the playoffs representing that particular region. And it wouldn't surprise me, they'll have to go up against teams from the Chattanooga area. It wouldn't surprise me if all 4 of them win a first round game. That's 4 pretty good football teams.
Definitely is. Let's go ahead and look at some notable scores from the week. Alcoa over Knox West. Alcoa continues to roll. When you look at the Tornadoes, it's just win, 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 win.
One of these days I'll learn to not pick against Alcoa. The 4 winners on that sheet, I picked all 4 of them to lose.
Right.
So, but nobody figured Maryville would lose to Bearden, but Bearden's a team that's going to be reckoned with for the next 3 or 4 years in Knoxville. I'm pretty sure of that.
And then Cagle gets the upset win over Gallatin after Gallatin had got the upset win the week before, and then Dresden beats Union City. So like you said, Murph, 3 really close contested contests or contested games. I'm sure it's a great atmosphere at all those places, and that's really what makes high school football so special.
Don't be surprised if Dresden is still playing on Thanksgiving. They've got an excellent football team, and it's another one of those small communities, but they love their football over there.
The home of Ned Ray McWhorter.
Yes, sir.
Former Tennessee governor. Let's look at the games that are coming up. You got Gordonsville at Red Bowling. That's at Red Bowling, and like you said, Murph, with Aiden Link at quarterback for Red Bowling, that's no pushover.
Now, the secondary is going to have to play really well along with the defensive line. They don't need to give him a lot of time to find the receiver and get the ball in that receiver's hands. He does an excellent job and has put Red Bowling back on the map to a certain extent. When
you look at Red Bowling, Murphy, they struggle so much, and now they're only in a 4-team region, so they're automatically in the playoffs, and they could host a playoff game if they could knock off Gordonsville.
Wouldn't that be something? It'd be something a lot of people 2 or 3 years ago would have bet the house on that and just waiting for the payoff.
Harpeth at Joe Burns should be a good close game. Of course, when you look at Mike Dickerson and Jimmy Maynard and Coach Bruce Lamb, they're going to get an opportunity to go look at possibly some first-round playoff teams with Clay County having the open date.
Love to be a fly on the rear window of that car or truck. Deep stories told on those trips.
Looking at Region 3 2A games, of course, Smith County going to Gainsboro to play Jackson County. Smith County, if they want to win the region, needs a win in Gainsboro. Then Trousdale County at East Robertson. East Robertson, as much as they struggled against Westmoreland, Trousdale County's thinking, hey, we can go to Cross Plains and get a win.
I was just going to ask you, you've seen both of those teams. I have not seen East Robertson except for about a quarter and a half on TV. But it would appear to me that Trousdale County's got a great chance for an upset because of East Robertson just squeaking past Westmoreland last week.
When you look at Trousdale, when they went to the spread against Smith County, he gave the house some trouble. And I'm sure that Coach Black Satterfield, who I saw last Saturday night at an eatery there in Hartsville, I'm sure he has been devising schemes to best move the football against the Indians. But I think the Trousdale County defense, how they contain all those Groves kids, is probably going to be the key to that ball game.
I would think so. On paper, they almost look like a mirror image of each other, those two teams do. They've got a lot of speed and a lot of athletic ability. It ought to be a great game to watch.
Monterey and Westmoreland have the week off. Let's go ahead and look at more games coming up in Region 4 2A. Cannon County going to Chattanooga, Notre Dame. You got Marion County at Forest. Of course, Marion County undefeated Murphy, and no doubt probably a good chance that they're going to go 10-0.
Yeah, they've pretty much handled any team that's lined up against them this year. There's been a couple of games that were a lot closer than I expected to be, but I think Marion County is probably the team to not only win that region, but probably go 2 or 3 rounds in the postseason.
Looking at open dates, Cascade and Fayetteville. Let's go ahead and look at Region 4 3A. Giles County at Grundy County. Of course, Giles County just keeps motorboating people. And then Sequatchie County at Community. What Indian team are we going to see travel to Unionville, Mark?
That's a good question. They've been one of the harder teams to pick this year, and I would say I've probably missed more Sequatchie games than I've been right on because they just have not shown the consistency and that you would expect out of a team from Dunlap.
Of course, Coach Gavin Webster and his Watertown Purple Tigers are off this week, as we've seen several teams have byes, and we'll see several in next week that have byes as well. Let's go ahead and look at the Region 4 4A games. You got Cumberland County at DeKalb County. That's our Huff and Puff Trucking game of the week here on DTC Sports. You got Macon at Livingston on Thursday night, Upperman at White House, Stonewall Memorial at York, and then CAK at White County. You look at Stonewall Memorial and York. York ranked in the top 5 of the state in Class 2A. Stone is 4A, but I guarantee you that's going to be a battle in Jamestown.
I would agree that out of the 5 games on the screen, if I had to go to one of those 5, I'd be going to Jamestown. But thank goodness there's other games to choose from.
And CAK at White County, you look at White County, and they've got an outstanding quarterback that can run the football, throw the football well. That could be, CAK. If you go back to Mr. High days, Murph, that could be a 57-54 game. I don't know that it'll be that high scoring, but there'll be quite a bit of fireworks in Sparta on Friday night.
They're not the team that they were when Charlie High was calling the signals, but nonetheless, the young man from White County that's now at Vanderbilt has got, I think, a younger sibling and a younger cousin that are both on that White County team now, and they make quite a bit of difference when it's time for the offense to take the field.
We'll have an interview with DeKalb County Assistant Athletic Director Thomas Cagle when we return to the box score, presented to you by Carthage Safeway.
Community Wellness Clinic is a nurse practitioner-owned and operated full-service medical clinic. Our emphasis is on good health and wellness throughout every generation of your family. We strive to provide the expert quality of care that our patients deserve and expect. Along with primary care services, we also offer a full complement of urgent care services. Let us be your family's good health partner. Community Wellness Clinic in Woodbury. Phone 615-563-7515.
Your trusted friend for all your grocery needs in Smith County is Carthage Safeway, your home-owned and home-operated supermarket. From the delicious USDA steaks in their meat department to the freshest produce around, Carthage Safeway is proud to serve you and your family. Todd and Angela Skurlock and everyone at Carthage Safeway are always there with a friendly smile and a helping hand. Great service, prices, and selection. That's Carthage Safeway, 80 Dixon Springs Highway, Carthage.
If you're a commercial driver looking for a company to call home, Huff and Puff Trucking is the company for you. Our employees are professional and dedicated individuals that take pride in what they do. We offer an outstanding pay package with a dispatch structure that maximizes your home time. To learn more about a company that knows you by name and treats you like family, call us at 1-800-965-5033 or visit our website at huffpufftrucking.com.
Here with DeKalb County Assistant AD, Mr. Thomas Cagle. And first of all, thanks for taking time to visit with us here on the box score.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate you guys having me back on.
When you look at DeKalb County sports, I know a lot of things going on. Everybody's familiar with football and soccer, but I know your girls golf team, and your golf through the years has some outstanding players that have went on and played Division I level, SEC level golf. You got to be proud of what these young ladies did in winning the region tournament.
Yeah, most definitely. At the beginning of the year, Coach Pryor and Coach Dykes, who coached the golf team, knew that we kind of had a special group of ladies. The two returning players, Allison Poss and Emily Anderson, coming back to us that had played with us previously, were already strong golfers. And then we added a freshman, Chloe Boyd, who has really pushed to be one of the top golfers for the region with Allison Poss. And, they put runs together all year. They finished the season undefeated and then won the district title and now have won the region championship. And they're at 24-0 going into the state tournament.
That's awesome, especially with the young lady from Gordonsville having won, 4 straight, Terry, right. I think. The Upper Cumberland's getting to be quite the golf capital as far as high school sports are concerned.
Oh, very much so. You always want to, as a former coach, I know Coach Pryor and Coach Dykes have had this conversation with me several times. We only can do so much as far as coaches and as far as any kind of preparation or really being that mental guide for these players and these athletes. So it really goes to just the determination, the sacrifices that these young ladies were willing to make, and just the preparation, week in and week out throughout the season to keep themselves competitive in such a tight golf district here in the Upper Cumberland, and just being able to compete at the level they have for so long throughout this season. It's a testament to their willpower and to the good things that they've been able to do.
Mr. Cagle, how important is it that you've got the Smithville Golf Club that's right there in Smithville, right there at the swim pool? You've got, within Riverwatch, you've got some outstanding courses there within probably 20, 30 minutes drive of Smithville. How important is it that you have those facilities that these young ladies or young men can go and practice at, where like a Smith County, they got to go to Baxter or Cookville or Lafayette or somewhere like there in Lebanon in order to play?
Yeah, I think, anytime you're looking at any kind of sports program, you're always going to look at facilities and what's available for the training. For us, Smithville Golf Course has been a outstanding partner for our golf programs, giving our kids the ability to come and play and golf as much as they need to and get in as much practice as they need. They've always, been really good partners for our school, not just for the golf team, but, also in helping with some fundraising with some different events with them being so close to the high school. And then likewise with the other golf courses that are around, we tend to find that most of the golf courses in the Upper Cumberland area are more than willing and gracious enough to work with the high schools and to work with these young golfers and give them an opportunity to get out and practice and hit and be a part of this game. I think that they kind of see the future of golf when they're looking at these younger students being out here and participating, and it's great to have that benefit of having those facilities as close as they are.
Well, it's those young athletes, when they advance as far as this young lady has done, it's almost like a free commercial for that golf course, because the first thing people want to ask is, where do you practice? And when she's able to mention a specific course there in Smithville or even Warren County or something like that, it bodes well for the course as well. It's not like you can just go out and build a golf course, throw it together in 2 or 3 weeks and be ready to play.
Absolutely. Partnerships are such a big deal for high schools, especially with public high schools. We're limited on the funds and we're limited on what we're able to offer a lot of times, especially for athletics. And so we rely really heavily on our communities and on the partnerships of local businesses to support our athletics and to support our teams and to provide them with the opportunities and the benefits that they get. I can't say enough about the many sponsors that we have here at our high school that provide for sport after season after season each and every year without question. They really open up their arms, open up their charitable giving for our schools and for our athletes, and we would not be as successful as we are as a high school when it comes to our athletics without those partnerships and the wonderful community that we live in here.
when you look at people like Jim Alexander, which is a long time over that Smithville Golf Club, he really encouraged DeKalb County athletes, not just your golf team, but a lot of people, young ones, he recruited either with the swimming pool to get them there to his facilities, or by maybe giving them clubs. I saw him do that one time to a kid that was an 8th grader that was going to be a freshman that he thought was a good athlete. He gave him clubs, and the kid wound up being a really good golfer, but that was his first experience at being on the golf course. And people like Jim Alexander, they're kind of behind the scenes, but they've tremendously left their mark or left their contribution on DeKalb County's golf teams.
Yeah, absolutely. I talk a lot of times about, we have monthly awards where students are able to write essays to give their parents recognition for what they're able to do outside of their lives. And one of the things I always say on there, anytime I'm talking about it, is that there's so much that goes on outside of school that we as teachers, administrators, athletic directors, we're unaware of the types of sacrifices and supports that our families and our communities are making for our students to be as successful as possible. And you gave a great example there with the Smithville Golf Course and the ownership and what they've been able to do for so many young athletes that may have never even thought about golf, that they've given them an opportunity to participate in that sport and to participate in something else that's a little bit more than just, open them up to different opportunities.
Thomas, when people like Terry and myself were in high school, we were lucky if we had one athletic director, and that person was probably also a head coach, if not one, maybe 2 or 3 different sports. And now, you've got an AD who has incredible responsibilities, and in your case, even an assistant or 2 assistant athletic directors. Tell the people what it takes. What's an average day for Thomas Cagle like with all the paperwork and everything else that you have to go through?
Well, I would say that myself, I'm pretty fortunate in DeKalb County where, my athletic directorship works a lot in tangent with the coaches instead of replacing them. So our coaches here in DeKalb County are still the ones in charge of their programs and still make a lot of decisions. We're there simply as a guide and a support system for our coaches is the way I have used this role and been a part of this role, is to really just be that extra set of support, whether it's, making sure that all the gate duties are taken care of for coaches, making sure the referees are taken care of, making sure that the broadcast team is taken care of. I feel like my job is to make sure the coach can coach. Let them handle the practice, let them handle coaching, let them handle, taking care of their team, which is what, they're supposed to be. That's their sole focus. And I try to take away all the distractions outside of that. Most of my day-to-day outside of, game days is really focused on the school and the curriculum and the discipline of the school. But on game days, you add in that extra bit of, making sure that that our being in contact with our bookkeeper to make sure we have our gate money, to make sure that I have my gate workers ready to work the gate, to make sure that, the referees have things that would be needed for them in their room, or whether it's making sure the, EMTs and everybody else has been contacted to be at the game, depending on the game. So it's all those little things that go into making a game work as smoothly as it can be. And I feel like my role is really to just guide coaches when they need the guidance and to support them through each game and through each season.
I've been to several football games at DeKalb County High School, and on game day, you're running around like a chicken with its head off, just trying to make sure all those things that you referenced are taken care of. You do a great job over there.
Well, I appreciate it. Like I said, most of the time game day is quite busy for me when it comes to just, watching those little things. But we have a really big support system here at DeKalb County that helps me make my job easier on game days and allows us to just, our ultimate goal is for fans and those that come to watch our athletes perform at their highest level are able to do that comfortably and able to do that safely as possible at any of our events here at DeKalb County High School.
Mr. Cagle, we appreciate you visiting with us. I know Coach Trapp would ask that you try to get Region 4, 4A reconfigured. 7 awfully tough teams. And there's a chance that DeKalb may miss the playoffs, but, I guess when you play against tough teams, you play against local teams, you get good gates, but still, that is quite a gauntlet that Coach Trapp and his football Tigers have to try to go through.
Yeah, absolutely. I coached for a long time beside Coach Trapp before I stepped into this admin role into being an assistant AD. I know the type of message that he's spreading to his players right now is really about preparation in those finer details. It doesn't matter the opponent that's in front of you or where you have to play that opponent. As he always says, it doesn't matter if we were playing in a Walmart parking lot somewhere in the southern states of the United States. We're going to show up and we're going to be prepared to give our best out there on the field. And so I know, we do have a bit of a stretch here coming up where we have to win at least a couple of those really important games here in our region to be able to get that 4th spot in the playoffs. But Coach Trapp is doing everything he can to prepare those young men, and I have faith that when push comes to shove, that they're going to put their best out there on the field, no matter what the outcome is.
Well, Mr. Cagle, we appreciate you visiting with us, and best of luck to DeKalb County.
Thank you very much, sir. Anytime.
Okay, we'll look at the Huff and Puff Trucking Game of the Week and get Murphy's picks when we return to the box score, brought to you by Carthage Safeway.
What is your emergency?
I think I'm being robbed.
Sir?
These big home security guys want way too much money from me.
Let's connect you to a local company right away.
It's a crime what big national companies charge for home security.
For just $49.99, get a system with a touch keypad, 3 window or door sensors, motion detector, key fob, and standard installation.
Help is on the way, sir.
Oh, thank you.
Switch now and save. Call or visit DTC Security online today.
Community Wellness Clinic is a nurse practitioner-owned and operated full-service medical clinic. Our emphasis is on good health and wellness throughout every generation of your family. We strive to provide the expert quality of care that our patients deserve and expect. Along with primary care services, we also offer a full complement of urgent care services. Let us be your family's good health partner. Community Wellness Clinic in Woodbury. Phone 615-563-7515.
Nearstar Middle Tennessee Mines in Gordonsville is hiring. We have open positions for Chief Geologist, General Mine Foreman, Mine Engineer, Graduate Mining Engineer, Electrical Superintendent, Mobile Superintendent, Mine Supervisor, and more. We offer competitive wages, excellent benefits, PTO, holiday pay, exceptional 401k, and lots more. Make the most of your future and your career. Join the excellent team at Nearstar Middle Tennessee Mines in Gordonsville.
And welcome back to the box score. It's the final segment, and their Huff and Puff Trucking Game of the Week is Crossville traveling to Smithville. Cumberland County at DeKalb.
Wonder if those teams played each other on a regular basis, maybe back in the 50s or 60s, something like that.
They could have. I don't know exactly the history of that, but you can hear it or watch it right here, 6:45 on Friday night from Smithville. Of course, they've got those new bleachers now. Murphy, and field looks great. Coach Trapp and his staff to be commended. And here at DTC3, it's an honor to get to go to these venues and cover these games.
It really is, and that's an impressive place when you're on your way to Smithville and you pull up there and see the big arch when you go out onto the field and all. It's a nice place. It's a fun place to go to watch a high school football game. Always has been.
All right, Murph, we're going to make you do some picks here, and that gets to be, and I mentioned this to you last week, those picks get harder and harder and harder to do every week because there's razor thin margins with a lot of these schools.
Well, there are, and so many schools, like, for example, Red Boiling Springs and Jellicoe. Jellicoe's got a chance to win its region. Probably the worst case scenario is they finish second, still get to host a playoff game. I'm not sure if Jellicoe's ever hosted a playoff game. Right. So it's really great to see some of those teams excel on the football field that have not done so in a long, long time, if at all.
Let's go ahead and start with the East Tennessee picks. Cleveland at Bearden.
That game would not have been on the screen until this year. but we've got a couple of pretty good coaches at both of those schools now. And Bearden is a team that one of their new head football coach is also in charge of the youth league in Knoxville. They don't have middle school football in Knoxville, so he knows who the great kids are coming out of middle school, and somehow is figuring out a way to get them to come to Bearden High School, and consequently Bearden's going to be a team to watch closely in the next several years. I think Bearden will win that game. Cleveland's got a new head coach also, but I think Bearden's got just a little bit more local talent than does the visiting Cleveland Blue Raiders.
Oak Ridge at Farragut.
That'll be a good one. Farragut's down. It's usually hands down the team to win that region up there, but they've lost 3 or 4 pretty close ball games, and Oak Ridge has got a new head football coach who's done very well everywhere he's been, so I've got to go with Oak Ridge in that one.
Northview Academy at Elizabeth.
I'd hate to bet against Elizabeth, and so I'm not going to do so, although Northview's got its best team ever. It's Northview Academy is a public school that's right there at the exit to go to Sevierville, where the baseball stadium is for that particular part of the state. So I've got to go with Elizabethton in that one.
All right, Murph, let's go ahead and look at some Middle Tennessee picks.
These were kind of easy to find. Henry County at Beach. I've seen Henry County play once this year. They've got a dynamite quarterback, but so does Beach. You know all about that quarterback at Beach. He was a Smith County Owl last year, but I think Henry County's got just a little more speed and athletic ability, so I'm going with the Patriots in that one.
Brentwood at Centennial.
Centennial has played lights-out football all season long. Their coach, Coach Stewart, coached in East Nashville last year and the year before, and he's done a great job with that program. But Brentwood just has so many athletes. They got a great quarterback, great receivers, and depth like you wouldn't believe. So I've got to go with the Bruins in that one.
Moore County at Collinwood. Moore County, they've always had a good football team, but look like they've got a really good team this year.
This is for the regional championship. Collinwood is doing exceptionally well, but so is Moore County. I interviewed Chris White, their head football coach, this morning. They've only lost one game, and I think Moore County's probably going to win the game and the region Friday night.
Let's go ahead and look at some West Tennessee picks. You got Bartlett at Germantown.
That could be a regional, maybe not a title game, but one that will be playing for staying at home in the first round of the playoffs. Germantown's an awfully good football team. I don't know that they've lost yet this year, and I've got to go with them in that one.
Haywood traveling Savannah, home of Amy Fair.
Yeah.
And Hardin County.
Absolutely. Thank you for the pun there. Haywood's an awfully good football team, but so is Matthew Smith's Hardin County Tigers. They've got an excellent quarterback. I think it's the head coach's oldest son, and I know Matthew very well. But I think Haywood's probably just too fast for that Hardin County team to circle up against.
Lausanne at St. Benedict.
Lausanne, 2 private schools there. St. Benedict moved down to Division II AA this year. They struggled at AAA trying to go against teams like Christian Brothers and MUS, but they're still struggling against the teams in AA. Lausanne with just 1 loss, and one of my favorite places to go. I'm picking Lausanne.
All right, let's go ahead and look at the local picks to finish things up. And we're going to start with the home of Murphy Fair, Rudyville, Cannon County territory, traveling down to Chattanooga to play Notre Dame.
Yeah, we're going to Chattanooga. We're not going to South Bend. So I had to remind some people of that when they saw Notre Dame. But Cannon County, probably the underdog in that game, but I look for it to be much closer. Notre Dame, a team that has not been much to talk about the last 5 or 6 years. I don't know that they've won more than 2 or 3 games this year. That one could be close, and Cannon County could pull off the win, but I seriously doubt it.
Smith County at Jackson County.
That one's going to be pretty one-sided. I think Smith County wins as much as they want. They can put as many points on the board as they want to. I'm going with the Owls.
Golden Flint Red Boiling.
Again, I think the Smith County team, the one on the south side of the county, playing a much better Red Boiling team, but I think Gordonsville comes away with a win.
And Cumberland County at DeKalb.
DeKalb, got to go with DeKalb County in that one.
We want to thank everybody for watching the Box Score. For Justin Malden and for Murphy Fair, I'm Terry Collins. Good night from the Box Score.